now listening to Sports Talk 916 with Greg Bull and Coach Greg Veroza.
If you'd like to participate in this show and listen live, there's a number of ways to do it. You can go to the Mixlr app, or you can follow us on Facebook Live every Sunday. You can also go on the wildfireradio.com website and listen to us Tuesdays at 3 o'clock Eastern, 12 o'clock Pacific. And if you want to contact us, head over to our website at sportstalk916.com. There you'll find all of our social media
Don't do that wildfire
feeds,
thing.
bonus after-hours content that you won't hear anywhere else.
Tons of it. Well, good morning, afternoon. What the hell am I thinking? It's early in the fucking morning. Good morning, boys and girls. You're tuned in to Sports Talk 916, episode 247. My name is Coach Greg Veroza. Right there is Mr. Chief, Greg Bull. And like Mike Barnbaum says, together we're the two-headed something or others of something. That
exactly.
Something.
TJ Barnbaum, let's get a sound check. Let's see how we're sounding.
Yep.
What's happening? Not much. It's Sunday morning. I'm awake. I'm good to go. The office is actually, studio is actually clean. So that's new. Today's going to be NBA related. It's going to be lots and lots of Summer League talk.
I think there's a chance we might lose some listeners.
We may lose some friends.
Yeah.
Summer League talk, we're going to talk about Vlade Divac and the approach that the Sacramento Kings, or the lack thereof, in free agency. We're going to talk about the Young Guns, the debut of Harry Giles and Marvin Bagley III.
You mean the flops?
No, I'm not too upset about the way they looked. But because TJ's on and TJ just gave us the sound is good, need to edit that wildfire radio thing. Yeah, we definitely need to. But we're going to go ahead and start with something fun because TJ just sent this over to me. And now, crazy quotes from Kings fans.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Forgot about this. This came across the Kingdom a few minutes ago. Sacramento Kings Kingdom, one of the Facebook groups, one of the mini Kings Facebook groups. I feel like there's a new one every day.
Yeah, pretty much.
This one says, question, should the front office consider retiring number 23 for Kevin Martin sometime in the future? After they do it for Captain Bibby, of course.
Huh?
Yeah. Retire
Kevin Martin?
Retire Kevin Martin's 23.
I'd rather retire 23 for Michael Jordan like the Miami Heat did than for Kevin Martin.
Right. I don't know what the hell people are thinking.
We'll talk more about the Kingdom in a few minutes.
And speaking of the Kingdom, there's always that debate between Willie's Burgers and the Squeeze In or the Squeeze Burger. I'm on the side of Squeeze Burger, and as of this morning, or maybe it was late last night, the Miami Heat posted a video on their Facebook page of one of their players that was here in Summer League going and trying a Squeeze Burger.
Really?
So they're getting national attention.
Nice.
And he loved it. So the two guys that never made an all-star team. Yeah, let's retire them. I mean, you know what? If we're doing that, we're retiring Scott Pollard's number as well.
Right.
31 needs to be in the rafters.
Right. Well, you know who's going to do the I know who will do the introduction to Bibby.
Every woman he's...
Well, I was thinking you.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
I got you, Bibby. All right, where do you want to start? Summer League, California Classic?
Yeah, let's start there. The California, three-quarter California Classic.
Right, the 3 out of 4 California Team Classic. Did you go watch any of the games?
No.
Did you watch any of them on TV?
I watched a couple of them on TV.
All right, so did I. I enjoyed it. It was actually... It wasn't as bad of basketball as I thought it could be, considering there wasn't much camp, there wasn't much practice. It was just, throw these guys together.
The first game was, I logged a lot of time on the first game, and it was just a big pickup basketball game. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of anything else playing. A little bit of defense and some pretty exciting plays too.
Yeah, no, it wasn't bad. So my first takeaway from that's me. Sorry, just want to hear it. Sounds good. Initial thought from California Classic is De'Aaron Fox spent some time in the weight room. He looks good. He's much bigger than he was. He's as hard as it is to say, he looks faster than he was last year, which is crazy.
I was going to say he hadn't lost any speed with his new size, but
he actually looks a little bit quicker to me. Yeah. It could be because he's a bigger body moving around now. He just looks moving faster. His court awareness seemed good, and he has further separated himself from the other point guard on the roster, who looks like he took 2 steps back in Frank Mason. Frank Mason, so Fox had a little bit of an injury in the first game. They decided to shut him down for the last 3, so that he wouldn't aggravate the injury going into the summer league. The offense was free-flowing, exciting, energetic, fast with Fox. And with Mason, it just stopped. There was not a lot of ball movement. I believe in the third game, Bagley played 28 minutes, touched the ball 3 times.
Right.
There's something wrong with that. If that is going to be your backup point guard.
Do you think maybe he's injured? Because he wasn't playing like himself. And it's been a long time since I've seen anybody take that much of a step backwards over the course of an offseason. Not even an offseason. 2.5 months.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I wonder if he's injured or if he, just went on an extended vacation or what the problem was. But he just didn't look. It didn't look like him. I'm still not gonna call him a failure, but
no, I'm not gonna call him like a bust or anything like that, because I think he definitely is still gonna be someone that can contribute to the Sacramento Kings. It's just initial thought, it worries me that he is going to be, what's up, Albert? That he's going to be the backup point guard right now, because there's just not enough energy coming from him. Now, it could be what we talked about earlier. It could just be the lack of practice. Maybe he didn't, maybe he got into it late. Maybe he got into the season late. Who knows? Or into the preparation, I should say, late. But it didn't look promising. It leads me to believe that part of the moves that Vlade could make or tried to make could indicate a Bojan Bogdanovic as a backup point guard more so than Frank Mason.
Could have been, yeah.
Because Boki last year moving the ball around looked decent. He didn't look bad.
Yeah, but I don't think you're going to bench him to be a backup point guard.
No, but I'm saying, and maybe not bench him, but maybe when they run a different unit out there, he takes the ball handling out of Mason's hands. Or what? Who knows?
I mean, in this NBA, it's now with point forwards and point centers.
Don't say the phrase, please. I hate it.
What's that?
Positionless basketball.
Positionless basketball.
I hate that.
Put 5 swingmen out there and let them go.
Right. There's the Warriors for you.
That's right. They're doing pretty good about it, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
No one else can seem to replicate it, though.
But now they're thrown in at center.
Hey, you know what? We've seen him play. He thinks he's a point guard.
Yeah, that's true. He's going to fit in perfect.
Yep. Okay. What were your thoughts on Marvin Bagley III?
I thought the first game he played pretty darn good.
Right.
Second 2 games, and last game he didn't do anything. Second game he didn't really do a whole lot.
He didn't play in the 4th game.
Yeah, what scares me is, and the thing that everybody talked about was his ability to go to the right.
Right.
Which limits his ability to make his own shot.
Yep.
He's got 2 or 3 months to work on that. Like I was talking to my buddy James Heinz, frequent listener.
Oscar, we'll go back to it.
What they need to do is put a belt around his left hand, not let him use it, and make him dribble a basketball 24/7 with his right arm.
That's what I had to do in high school.
Yep. And, he can do it. He's a good athlete. And, he really does have a whole season to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
Nobody's expecting him to be an all-star. So I like what I saw. I like the chemistry that the three, Fox, Bagley, and Giles, showed.
Yes.
I think that it's a process, and the phrase that I hate is we have to trust the process.
Hey, it worked for Philly.
But let's see what happens.
My initial
You
thought.
having troubles over there?
I'm
Or
just
what's
trying to
going
lower
on?
this down a little bit.
What are you fumbling with everything.
My initial thought on Bagley was high energy kid, clearly wants to be here, clearly wants to make a name for himself. He's gonna get in well with Fox. His jump shot was much cleaner than I thought it was gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
His range is much further than I thought it was gonna be.
Mm-hmm. It
It didn't look like just one of those big guys that just threw up a three. Like you can tell he can shoot the three ball.
Right.
His leaping ability is beyond ridiculous.
Right.
I wasn't there. I know Oscar, who's on right now, was there. In that first game, that first dunk he threw down on that fast break.
That was awesome.
I saw it on TV. I watched it happen. It was electric. It was crazy. I think this kid, even take away the ability not to go right, I think that he still has a potential to be in consideration just off raw talent alone to be like a Rookie of the Year candidate.
He's got a teammate to battle with that.
He does, and I think his teammate actually wins it this year, to be honest with you.
I do too.
But his leaping ability, his innate ability to track down the rebounds, to dribble. I mean, you saw him yesterday in summer league. He had that rebound, and
I didn't see anything in the summer league game yesterday.
He took it up the court. I mean, it looked a lot like DeMarcus Cousins lumbering down the court, but he has some handles on the ball. He has good vision. I think that Marvin Bagley III is so far. I mean, it's only been 3 games, and he did get hurt yesterday. He has an MRI tomorrow.
Right. He'll
shape up fine in the NBA.
Oscar, I agree with you 100%. Says Bagley will be fine.
Yeah, glad we took Bagley. I'm 100% on board with that. The other player that we talked about, who I think is going to be NBA Rookie of the Year this year, is Harry Giles.
I think he's got a great shot.
Giles, them redshirting him, I mean, if you take anything negative that Vlade and Divac or anyone in that front office have done, I think for every 2 or 3 bad things, redshirting Giles eliminates those and gives them a free pass. Because allowing that knee to fully heal, allowing him to work with no pressure
against NBA level players.
Having
sort of NBA level players.
Having, I think, Randolph and Carter available to him at his beck and call in practice, no matter when he needed it, I think was something that is going to be valuable beyond measure. There's no way to know exactly how well that is going to play out, but I think if you don't do that, we don't see such a well-polished Harry Giles, even in Summer League.
I wonder if this is going to be the norm. You get a guy that's talented that might be just a little dinged up, and you redshirt him. Look what happened this last year. Who won the Rookie of the Year? Was it Embiid? No, it was
Simmons.
So they redshirt Simmons, and he wins Rookie of the Year, and he played really well. If Giles wins it this coming year, or he's definitely going to be, as long as he doesn't get hurt again, knock on wood. I wonder if that will help those players that just a little dinged up or dinged up pretty bad.
Right. Well, we'll find out about that soon. How Denver handles Michael Porter Jr. is going to be a clear indication of how the league takes that.
Yep.
Oscar says he likes Giles, but he wishes he wouldn't shoot so many threes. I know he can hit them, but it feels like fool's gold. I'm hoping that's just a product of him being excited about Summer League and getting out there and playing.
And really not having any practice and not having any kind of team concept.
Well, not only that, but also you don't have your coach. I mean, Jaeger's not running the Summer League teams. So, maybe it's just go out there, have fun, get your shots up, see what happens.
Right.
And then once the actual system gets implemented, I think he'll be more of like a Weber type player. He'll be more of a 15 to 18 footer.
Right.
And one thing we didn't mention about Bagley too is, you know, he doesn't go right, but a big guy that can shoot the ball left-handed, this offense is going to pose problems because you have Fox and Bagley now that are left-handed.
The problem is defenses are smart enough to where they'll camp out on that side and prevent that, and it's going to shut them down.
But one of the things, though, about, like, especially if you're defending a jump shooter, is it's hard to remember. Not hard to remember, but sometimes it's not as easy to adjust to a left-handed jump shooter.
Going up with the other hand.
Because everything you do, you basically, what is it? It's probably, I'd say, 85 to 90% of basketball players are right-handed.
Right.
So you scheme to be a good defender against a right-hander, and when you get a lefty, sometimes it's like, holy crap, I forgot.
Yeah.
And they that little bit of a brain fart might be enough to hit a game winner or a game that gives the lead that shifts momentum. Like, there's going to be intangibles with that. Patrick Kilkenny says Harry Giles is beasting right now. Fun kid to watch. Reminds me a lot of Kevin Garnett. That's the early,
little early for that, I think.
but that's the early vibe I get from him as well. He's long.
I think it's too early to make any kind of comparison to him. I'm not.
And Oscar wants to see Giles hit that elbow shot consistently.
Yes.
I think that's going to be his absolute bread and butter. But then, you know, you work those two guys down low. If they can both develop a post, you know, it reminds me a lot of a Duncan Robinson situation in the beginning.
And the other thing is they're both really athletic, and from everything I've heard, they really want to go to an up-tempo game, which I'm excited about because I like that.
Right, me too.
And, you know, watching, they're the kind of athlete, throw the other potential Kings starters in there. You have the really good makings of a really good up-tempo, fast team with those two athletic bigs. Oh, my God.
Now, let me ask you this. How much of a more like a Harrison Barnes or a Lionel Simmons? Harrison Barnes, I hope not, because that just means he's going to not be very good. I can see a high-low with Bagley and Fox working together for sure. Him and Bogey as well. Lionel Simmons, if we can get the poise of Lionel Simmons, I'd be happy with that. But I want more athleticism. How much pressure, I guess we'll say, do you think is on Willie and Scal right now to come out and perform at an ultra high level before these guys realize that they pretty much don't have a spot on this roster and they get moved?
They have no choice. They have no. Every conventional wisdom is you have 3 years to prove yourself. Well, for those two guys, this is year 3.
Right.
And they better come out and do something. They better, you know, last year they just kind of, it was almost like I don't know if they took a step backwards, but they surely didn't improve that much. When they did, it was inconsistent at best. So what they're going to have to show this year is consistent improvement on a day-to-day basis and being competitive within the league and not getting shut down by second-rate players, or they're going to be gone. They're going to be gone because it's just, this is the year that you have to prove yourself. You can't say, okay, I'm a young rookie. You know, you can't say that you're having a sophomore slump. It's time to put up or shut up, and they better do something this year.
Yeah, Willie's on a contract year. Like Oscar just said, he better ball out. If he doesn't establish himself as an electric bench presence, because obviously he's not going to start, I don't think, over Giles or Bagley, as long as they keep progressing. Willie's going to have to be a Bobby Jackson-esque electric, you know, spark plug off the bench. He needs to come in with that athleticism. There we go. And energy that he can bring when he's fired up and be that guy off the bench. Otherwise, he's going to be out. The Kings are not going to offer him a contract next year with all the bigs they have. Scal, I think, needs to ball out in order to raise his trade value so that teams actually look at him with the potential that he had coming out of college. Because I don't see Scal sticking around too much longer either. They're still going to have to find a way to work minutes in for Randolph. You know, they have pieces they need to figure out. Let me ask you this though: we've we've seen Willie Cauley-Stein in the offseason on TMZ running his mouth and a whole bunch of other stuff, right? It doesn't look like, again, this is year 3 now, it doesn't look like Willie Cauley-Stein takes his offseason seriously. He looks thin. I mean, he looks small. And a lot of the Kings fans, especially on Facebook, like to assume or the common knock on Willie is he's more focused on his fashion and his off the court stuff than he is basketball. What do you think the likelihood is that Scal takes this pressure seriously and elevates his game to a new level while Willie just kind of goes through the motion and ends up being about the same with, rare sparks of fantastic play followed by where the hell was Willie at?
4 games of where the hell was he at? Definitely. I mean, until he proves us wrong, that's what we know of him. I mean, and he's done that for 2 years now. It's been, he'll have a great game, score 15, 20, 25 points, dominate the boards, and you go, okay, hey,
Hey, there he is.
Maybe he's turned the corner. Let's move. And the next game,
he grabs a rebound.
He's playing Phoenix, and he gets, 2 points and a rebound and 4 fouls in 10 minutes.
Right. So Oscar says he can see Willie bringing Giles off the bench. Giles and Zebo off the bench would be a nice combo. I can see the season starting that way just because, it has been Willie's position for the last couple of years, and, maybe he hasn't done enough necessarily to lose the role. But it's really going to come down to his focus. If he's not focused and doesn't have that internal push, then I can see 10, 15 games into the year, especially with Jaeger. Jaeger likes to move rotations and lineups around a lot. I think Willie, of everybody on the roster, is going to have a very, very short leash when it comes to his starting position.
I agree 100%.
So, I mean, it falls on Willie Cauley-Stein. I really hope he finds a way to do it because he does have the potential to be one of those players that is just, he's different. And it's really hard to game plan against different. You can game plan against talent. You can game plan against dominance. You like, for example, DeMarcus Cousins. You knew you're going to get a big man that can bully you around. You game plan against that, but you still had to be aware of the fact that he can go out and shoot a 3 or he can do whatever. Willie doesn't have a set type of play. He's athletic. He can shoot the mid-range jumper every now and again. He flows around for the rebounds when he's focused. He's that different player that you have to kind of just be aware of. You can't necessarily game plan for. And if they game plan for Randolph and Scal or Bagley and Giles, they have you can only have so many plans in place. You bring a guy like Willie in off the bench or into late game and he has his energy up. It's an X factor that a lot of teams can't prepare for, but it depends on how he prepares for a game because most of the time it seems like he's lost.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you mentioned something in there that said, when you said he can run the floor. And I've heard a couple of reports saying that that's the direction they want to go in, which I think is brilliant because of the type of athletes that we have on the team. And what I'm hoping is with Willie Cauley playing an up-tempo, run the ball, get back on defense type of system, that's going to keep him more engaged than bringing it down, playing iso ball, or anything else like that. I think a fast-paced, and Kings fans are going to hate this, like a fast-paced Golden State Warriors type of offense is suited for him because of his natural abilities.
Right.
And if they do that and it fits, then the ball's in his court.
Yep.
He's got to adapt to it, and he's got to take advantage of that, or he's gone. He's just gone.
So Oscar has a question.
Sure.
Who would you rather have on the Kings, Boogie or Willie Cauley-Stein, take into consideration the all-around person?
Willie Cauley-Stein in a heartbeat.
I take Willie Cauley-Stein as well, and it's not really a knock on Boogie as far as you mentioned a person, but
not as a person. No.
If the Kings want to have a dynamic of a free-flowing 2002-esque roster, and style of play to keep up with Houston and Golden State and now I guess the Lakers. You have to have that free-flowing offense. DeMarcus doesn't fit the mold of a runner. He wants to be the black hole offense player, and rightfully so. I mean, when you're in a half-court set, there's very few players in the league that can slow down DeMarcus Cousins when he's healthy. But the problem is, not only is he hard to slow down, he slows down inherently. He slows down your entire team.
Yes.
And that breaks up what ideally it looks like the Kings want to do.
Right. And I think the other thing is just as his player persona, and I really need to make sure that people understand that there's two boogies. There's the off-court boogie that I have no problem.
I would love to have on him.
I love him.
I would love to have that player on or that person in our organization.
But there's the on the court boogie that not only is he an offensive black hole, but the attitude that he brings, the constant complaining, the constant whining about every call, the constant standing at the offensive end with his hands on his hips or his hand raised up,
pouting or whatever,
while everybody else is trying to play defense, just doesn't work. Mm-hmm. So no, and I'm actually, as much as I'm a Cousins, I'll say I'm a Cousins hater. I don't like him as a player. I think he made the best decision that he could possibly make by signing with the Warriors.
Yep. Barnbaum, what's the status on Jakar Sampson? You don't hear much about him, if any at all. He's restricted free agent. The Kings did not offer him a qualifying offer, so he will be gone. Yeah. Same with Jack Cooley. Jack Cooley's gone. He's with Phoenix on their summer league team. Now you mentioned it. DeMarcus signs with the Warriors. Kings fans, rightfully so, should be getting off the jock of DeMarcus Cousins now, because now he has literally joined the enemy. It was either that or the Lakers. It was going to happen. And a lot of people say, well, I wish I could drop a GIF. Yeah, me too, Oscar. You're like the GIF master. DeMarcus, we talked about slowing down offenses and kind of being a black hole. It's going to be interesting to see how he fits in with Golden State. Oscar asked, would we rather take Willie or DeMarcus? And I said I'd rather take Willie because he doesn't slow down the offense. Right. We're going to see that firsthand with the Warriors.
Well, here's the thing with him being on the Warriors. When he was with the Kings, he was far and away the number one option.
Now he's going to be like 6.
Yeah. And even in New Orleans, he was second option.
Yeah.
He's still a pivotal part of the offense. Here, they could sit his ass on the bench, and they know that they have the players to win a championship.
Yeah.
And, as much as Draymond Green is as big a whiner as DeMarcus is, I think this is going to be good for both of them.
Me too.
That they're going to see what idiots they are, and I just don't think that that team is going to let DeMarcus do the things that DeMarcus thinks he should be doing, if that makes sense.
I agree. And I don't know if you saw the quote or not from Steve Kerr yesterday. Someone asked Steve Kerr.
Bada bing, bada boom?
Well, no, that was DeMarcus. That was DeMarcus. But someone asked Steve Kerr about, they said, hey, you're aware that DeMarcus has, a perceived attitude, and he's a troublemaker and blah, 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 blah when it comes to some of his attitude on the court. And he says, I'm fully aware of how DeMarcus is, but I also know he's a great basketball player. The good thing is Draymond's been preparing me for this for years. So he already knows how to handle a player like DeMarcus Cousins.
And Oscar, I think he will last. The first part of that is he's not going to play until the second half of the season.
Right. He's not recovered from that.
So he's going to, as much as he said, I'm going to be ready for training camp, he's not going to be ready for training camp.
Well, and the thing is, you got to think about it this way, too.
Hold on. He's going to have the first half of the season to see how the Warriors play up close and personal.
Yep.
He's going to start practicing with them probably a month or so before he gets on the court. So that's going to give him the understanding of how they play on the court too. And I just don't see him. He doesn't have the cachet. That's not the right word, but he just doesn't have the responsibility. There's not that placed on him where he's just another piece. I mean, he's a good player, but he's just another piece. And I think that if he goes with this and he learns what we've all been saying, or what we've been saying for the last 5 or 6 years of, if you played this way, you would be dominant, effectively dominant. I think this is a great thing for him. If he blows it and he, starts pouting because he's not the first or second option, yeah, Oscar, they'll release him. But I just don't see that happening. I think he's smarter than that. And I think that by him, I think he's got his ego kicked out a little bit. No offers.
Which I call bullshit on.
Do you?
Yep. Reports came out that he had multiple 2-year offers that he didn't want to take.
Well, if that's the case, then even better that he made this decision on his own, knowing that he's not going to be the man. He's not going to be the number one option. Maybe he realizes that what he's
See you later, Oscar. Enjoy your vacation.
See you, Oscar. Maybe what he realizes is what he's been doing in the past isn't working, and maybe he's going to change. And if he did, then I applaud him. I think it's a great thing to do.
No, and I agree. And I think it's going to be one of those things where he definitely benefits from this. It's a reality check. It's an ego check that he joins there. And to answer Oscar's question, do you think he stays there the entire season? I absolutely think he does.
Yeah.
And I think there's an opportunity for him to sign there next year as well. Simply for the fact it may not, if he fits in and if they win a championship again, that's very enticing, because the thing is, chances are, if it came down to it, and I know they're a core team, but if you choose a max deal for Draymond Green or a max deal for a healthy DeMarcus Cousins, I think you take DeMarcus over Draymond. Clay, by all accounts, looks like Klay Thompson's going to dip. He's going to be gone next year. Durant likely is going to be gone next year. This may be the Warriors' last year of having that team built up.
Or it could. They could all take discounts to stay where they are.
Well, the reports are already that Clay wants to play with the Lakers because his dad's there and he wants to play with LeBron. Durant could go to the Lakers. He could go to Washington and play with John Wall and get back to his hometown. The salary cap goes up again next year, and there's a lot of teams that have money more than the Warriors are going to have. Durant's already taken a pay cut 3 years in a row. Right. He's not going to take another pay cut. And if you're going to offer, like I said, if you're going to offer DeMarcus Cousins or Draymond Green a deal, and you're losing Klay Thompson and you're losing potentially Kevin Durant, who are you going to take? You're going to take another first or second option weapon to go with Steph. Yeah. You're not going to take Draymond over DeMarcus Cousins if he's fully healthy. But to answer the question about Oscar saying, do you think he stays with the team the entire season? I say yes, because look who was their center the last 2 years. It was JaVale McGee. You're basically replacing a JaVale McGee with a DeMarcus Cousins. They did run a big every now and again when other teams went big. You're and that was one of the Warriors' Achilles heel this year. You put in a big man. Look at the Houston series. Until Houston missed 28 threes in a row, Clint Capella was the Warriors' Achilles heel. They couldn't do anything about him. That's because they had JaVale McGee counteracting the center move with the Rockets. You bring in DeMarcus Cousins, not only does your center not get to just cloud the middle, but now he actually has to defend someone that's on offense. And, it's going to change the dynamic of the Warriors if they do run a center, running a center that can actually play the game of center, not just be on Shaqtin' a Fool nonstop.
Yeah, but I also go back to history, and there aren't a lot of teams with a big dominant center that have really won a lot of championships.
True.
But
he doesn't need to be a big dominant center with Golden State. He just needs to be
even being a primary option. And if it's Steph and DeMarcus, now all of a sudden he's become a secondary option again. And
that's a scary secondary option if you think about it.
Yeah, but it depends on how he's playing. But if he goes back to playing DeMarcus ball, then no, it's not a scary option. You don't even need to defend him because he can't hit the three. He leads the world in turnovers as a point center. It's just not effective. And then he starts getting fouled, and he thinks that he just goes back to being DeMarcus.
Here's my prediction for DeMarcus Cousins. Steve Kerr is going to finally be the coach that changes DeMarcus's demeanor.
If anybody can do it, there's two people that can do it.
It's Pop and Kerr. Now, here's the deal, though. Here's something that DeMarcus... Here's what's going to change DeMarcus's demeanor. Like you said, he's probably not going to play the first half of the season. He's going to see a culture of winning basketball around him 24/7 that he's going to go, holy shit, this is amazing. Because the Pelicans, sure, they made the playoffs, but really they didn't make a strong run into the postseason until DeMarcus got hurt. They were kind of hovering. He went down, so he wasn't around the full. They were a roller coaster team like crazy. They'd win a couple and then lose like 5, and then win like 6 and then lose like 4. He's going to see a team that's going to run off 8, 9, 10 in a row and then lose 1 and then win 5 more.
Right.
He's going to realize, like, holy shit, this is what I want to be a part of.
Right.
And then you mentioned his three-point shooting. While he's not playing for the first half of the season, you know what he's going to be doing. He's going to be shooting threes with Steph and Clay nonstop. And here's the deal. If there's anybody to shoot with that you're going to learn from and you're going to up your three-point percentage by taking advice from these guys, it's going to be Clay and Steph. Now, DeMarcus, that might get to his head, and he may shoot another 100 threes a year, but I guarantee you his three-point percentage is going to go up, and it's just going to add to that. We talked about with Willie. It's going to add to that different element. Like, shit, now we can't just let him step out on the three-point line and leave him alone because he's probably going to hit him.
Well, and I think the other thing is that we mentioned earlier is with a coach like Kerr, who has the cachet, who has the credentials behind him, that if DeMarcus is shooting 28% or 20% from three-point line, Kerr's going to go, no.
Right.
No more. Don't do it.
Right.
You get your ass on the block where you belong, rebound, and kick out to the guys who can make them. You're going to take one every once in a while. That's all right. You know, Draymond takes them once in a while, too. You can get out there and you can take a couple of threes once in a while, but that's not a staple of your game. Your game is on the block because you're going to open up things for the rest of our team. Kerr will do that to him.
Let's make one more prediction about DeMarcus Cousins. At the end of the season, when his attitude changes and he gets a taste of winning, there's one player on that team that he's going to account to his change, and that's going to be Draymond Green.
Yeah.
Because Draymond has the same attitude as DeMarcus. The thing is, Draymond knows when to stop.
Yes. And he knows how to do it. He knows how to
bitch and bitch and bitch and bitch, and then he can. It's almost like he can read the body language of the ref and goes, "Oh, here he goes. I'm done," and walks away. Or he screams at the crowd or does something else that's not directed at the ref, where DeMarcus just screams at the refs. It's going to teach DeMarcus how to control that passion, because that's one thing about DeMarcus Cousins. It's not always anger. It's the passion for the game. He wants to be that player, but he feels like he's disrespected by it.
Right.
If he can bottle up that passion and use it in a different way like Draymond Green does, DeMarcus has the potential to be a very scary player in this league.
And here's the difference. Here's the other difference is when bitching and moaning and whining and complaining takes DeMarcus out of his game.
Right.
Bitching, whining, moaning, and complaining does not take Draymond.
It puts Draymond into his game.
Yeah, it does, because instead of standing back at the offensive end with his hands up in the air or on his, sitting on his ass.
It fuels his defense is what it does.
Yeah, Draymond goes back and he says, fuck you, I'm going to take over on defense.
Gets a steal, gets a block, takes a charge, and then all of a sudden everyone's fired up.
Right, and so, like I said, I think I'm kind of excited, and I can't believe I'm fucking saying this. I'm actually excited to see DeMarcus Cousins play with the Warriors.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, but this guy has a take on this.
This is stupid. I want to talk about vaginas.
I'm done talking about DeMarcus Cousins. Let's talk about free agency a little bit, because there were a lot of dominoes that fell in the NBA, and every year this happens when players like LeBron or Durant or whoever hits the market. There's those big dominoes that have to fall before other pieces fall into place, right?
Right.
The first domino was Paul George. Everyone you talk to, if you had to say, is he going to the Lakers or staying with the Thunder, would have put money on him going to LA. There was
he said it. He said it last year. I'm going to be playing with the Lakers in 2
There
years.
was not a soul on this earth that would have predicted that Paul George takes a contract extension with the Thunder. The second before free agency opened, it was reported by Wojnarowski that he was going back to OKC.
Do you think he knew that LeBron was going to the Lakers and he didn't want to play with LeBron?
I think he knew that there wasn't any money for him to go play with LeBron.
Could be.
So he went back to OKC. Right after that, LeBron signs with the Lakers, 4 years, $154 million, and the rest of it was pretty much history. Carmelo Anthony opted in with OKC. He's going to be released. We're going to talk about him here in a little bit. Trevor Ariza surprised me, went to Phoenix, left Houston.
Yeah.
Talk about going from top to bottom in a move.
I don't know. Phoenix has made a shitload of moves.
They have, but you're going from the number 2 team to the number 1 draft pick team. It was the worst team in the league.
But I think maybe Ariza, and this is what I see, is
he sees the future.
Yeah, there's no future.
Houston's going to fall apart.
They're going to fall apart, and I wouldn't be surprised if they get a good start this year, and then by the All-Star break, they're just in a complete free fall.
Tailspin.
Yep.
Avery Bradley's going back to the Clippers. We talked about DeMarcus Cousins. He's going to Golden State. 2 former Kings are reuniting. Seth Curry and Nick Stauskas are both going to the Blazers.
Woo.
Kevin Durant opted in to stay with the Warriors 1 more year. Tyreek Evans goes to the Pacers. Rudy Gay re-signs with the Spurs. Aaron Gordon, a guy that we had linked to the Kings until they drafted Marvin Bagley III, he stayed in Orlando, which I don't think anyone saw that coming. Mario Hezonja, the Kings offered Mario Hezonja a 2-year deal. He turned it down. Well, they didn't offer it to him. They were in talks with him about a 2-year deal. He declined to take it. He signs with the Knicks. DeAndre Jordan's finally a Maverick. Took him forever to go there. Doug McDermott, Pacers. Nerlens Noel goes to the Thunder. Let's see. Jabari Parker, someone that the Kings still apparently have on their list. He received a qualifying offer from the Milwaukee Bucks to stay in Milwaukee. Chris Paul stays in Houston on a 4-year deal. Julius Randle was the odd man out in LA. He joins the Pelicans. Rajon Rondo joins the Lakers.
I don't get that at all.
JJ Redick stays with the Sixers. This one I don't get at all. I understand Rondo. You look for a way to get rid of Lonzo Ball if you can. Lance Stevenson joins the Lakers.
That's weird.
That one is he just there to blow in LeBron's ear? Like what? That one doesn't make any sense to me at all because those two have such a history of not liking each other at all. Oscar already left, but his boy Omri Caspi goes to the Timberwolves.
No, I didn't hear that.
Zach LaVine, the Kings offered him a 4-year, $78 million contract. He was a restricted free agent. The Bulls have matched it. As Patrick Kilkenny said there, as we expected, Zach LaVine is matched. I am head over heels elated that the Bulls matched that deal.
I'm not quite that happy.
I don't think that he's a max player like that.
No.
He is a second or third option type player. He doesn't fill a need for the Kings that he's a shooting guard.
Yeah, but again, and I've heard this a lot, and I've seen it a lot from people who think they know what they're talking about, keep saying that Vivek wants to create a cheap version of the Warriors.
Right. But
and if that's the case, then somebody like Zach LaVine fits in real well.
But let me ask you this. If they did sign Zach LaVine and he did not get matched by the Bulls, then are you okay with... I'm sorry, you're right. Caspi did go to the Memphis Grizzlies, not the Timberwolves. If, like I said, rolling back the clock, if Chicago didn't match, you'd have to get rid of either Buddy Hield or Bogdan Bogdanovic. There's no room for either one of them. So would you be okay losing one of those two players for Zach LaVine?
Well, if you're playing small ball the whole time, why do you have to get rid of them?
Because there's no room for him on the roster.
Yeah.
They're already at roster capacity. They would have had to get rid of somebody. When they signed the deal when they signed LaVine to the offer sheet, they only had $17.5 million available in contract space for the year. They had to renounce their rights to Bruno Coppola, and they had to renounce their rights to Vince Carter. So both of those guys are officially 100% out of the organization.
Right.
That freed up the extra $2.5 million that they needed to make it 19.5 to fit in Zach LaVine. So he would have taken the final roster spot. That's why Jakar Sampson wasn't offered a tenure. That's why Kupala's gone. That's why Carter's gone.
Carter wasn't going to sign here anyway.
Well, yeah, but they still had rights to him. Should they have, had the ability to bring him back under a veteran role, or whatever? You're going to lose Buddy, or you're going to lose Bogdanovic.
Yeah, in that case, no. I'm glad that they didn't sign him.
Now, I think they should go after a stretch 4 or a solid 3. which leads us to a couple other players. So one of them is it's not going to be a Kings player, but I'm just looking at free agents that are still in the market. We mentioned him earlier, Clint Capella. The fact that he's not getting offers from anybody is crazy to me.
But it says something.
It does, that the big man in the NBA doesn't really matter anymore. Right. Jabari Parker, we mentioned, he was someone that I really wanted to see the Kings make a run at. He got offered a qualifying offer. Mike, where's Vince Carter going to go? I hope Vince Carter goes back to Toronto. I hope he plays his last year or two in Toronto to get the final send-off that he deserves there. And they're still a good team. In the East with LeBron gone,
it's wide open.
It's wide open between three teams.
Yeah. Sixers,
Raptors, and Celtics. Those are the three. So go to Toronto. You have a chance to win there. Isaiah Thomas is still available. His hip is still bothering him. Teams are scared of the hip. I understand that.
I think people are scared of the attitude too.
I saw Kings fans talking about, we want to have Isaiah back. He can just come here and put up points off the bench and no, fuck that. Here's the name I want, and I told you I'm stuck on one person or one player that I want to see the Kings make a run after. He's a small forward. He brings an attitude and an intensity that is rarely matched in the NBA right now.
Is he local?
He is not local.
Okay, so it's not who I thought it was.
Who do you think it was?
Ryan Anderson.
No, fuck Ryan Anderson. His contract can stay in Houston. Marcus Smart. I want to see the Kings make a run for Marcus Smart because every report coming out of Boston right now, he's a restricted free agent, which means the Celtics would have an opportunity to match that deal. However, every single report, when I was doing my research last night, I went through as much Marcus Smart news as I could find. Every single thing I found says that there is no plan for Marcus Smart to discuss a contract with the Celtics at all.
Wow.
So if that's the case, if they're not even going to talk to each other, and it's from both sides, it's not just Marcus Smart doesn't want to speak with the Celtics. They have no plans of speaking with Marcus Smart. There's probably a very good chance that if you offered him a 4-year, $75 million contract, the Celtics aren't going to match it. Then you have your small forward, you have your defender, you have your attitude. TJ heard that he's returning to Boston. As of last night, I saw no intention that he was going to Boston. I would love that. But on the flip side of that, you get people that talk about Vlade Divac and what the Kings' plan is this year to free up more money for next season, and that's take on bad contracts. They want to take on veteran bad contracts that are going to fall off the books next year to give them more money. They can maybe get rid of Scal. They can get rid of Willie in that move. They can clear up cap space.
And Kufis falls off the...
Kufis is off.
Zebo falls off the...
Zebo would be gone. You can move both of those guys for this guy that it scares me to even think about.
They're going to have $30 million plus next year to play with.
So here's the deal, though. You want a veteran. You said you want to take on a bad contract. If you want to lessen the powerhouses in the West, I've seen it floated around, and I hate it, and I don't want it to happen. But if you put it in Vlade Divac's hands, chances are it's probably going to be discussed. I have this weird pit of my stomach feeling that when it comes time for this player to be bought out, stretched, or traded for a bad contract, you're going to see the Sacramento Kings in the headlines when it comes to talking about goddamn Carmelo Anthony.
Oh, God.
I just have a pit of my stomach feeling that when it comes time for the Thunder to try to find a way to get rid of that 27 point whatever $1 million deal it is, you're going to see the Kings offering Zebo or Kufis or Scal or something in order to get a future draft pick with it. They're going to get a first round pick next year with it. I just have this gut feeling, and it makes me want to shit my pants that Carmelo Anthony is going to be linked to the Sacramento Kings when it comes time for him to leave Oklahoma
All right,
City.
well, here's my take on that. First off, I don't want a first-round pick next year.
There's no one to draft.
It's a bad draft.
Give me like 3 second-round picks. Or a 2020 first-round pick.
Yeah, I don't want a first-round pick next year. What I want them to do is I want to let them have the money fall off the table.
Oscar or Mike, he doesn't know how to play defense or play with other teammates either.
No,
but it's a Vlade Divac type thing.
He's
I'll say he's an idiot.
Let's put it this way: he's a junior DeMarcus Cousins.
I would take Carmelo Anthony over DeMarcus Cousins.
Right. But here's my theory, or here's what I would like to see happen. If you do get somebody like that, what's he got? How long is his contract? Is it a 1-year contract?
He has 1 year left, $27.8 million.
Okay. So if we do get it, the plan has to be you're gone after this year.
Oh, without a doubt. There's no way.
I don't want to see him get a first-round pick next year. There's nobody to draft. I want to see that money fall off, and then next year, if our young guys have the kind of year that I think they're going to have, Sacramento all of a sudden is going to be a really attractive place for people to want to come to, and then you're going to have more options in the free agent market.
Mm-hmm.
I can see a big man coming. I can see a 3 or a 4 who could be dominant, wanting to come here to play with some of those rookies that we have.
Yeah.
We don't need to get any younger. We're young enough as it is. What we need to do is we need to get some quality experience, some people that are 27, 28 years old that have 4 or 5 years in the league, that have been established, that want to come here. I mean, we've seen it time and time again that people say they don't want to be here.
Fucking
and then
barn bomb. Marcus Smart is not a dumb move, but Carmelo Anthony is.
Really? You've been listening, Mike. So yeah, that's my thing. I mean, if they take Carmelo, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm quite as upset as you are about it, but I just don't think it's. I don't think it's a good move. I think it's a free cap space up and guarantee yourself 27 wins next year.
Let's say you're gonna make a move for Carmelo. Do you include Temple or Kufis as $8 million?
What's that?
If you had to pick between an $8 million contract, do you include Kufis or do you include Temple?
Kufis.
Just because of the veteran leadership that can come along with it? I didn't want that. So, Randolph, Shumpert, Kufis. Wait, it won't let me even trade Carmelo. What the fuck? Oh, because he has a no trade clause. No, there you go. So if you trade Randolph, Shumpert, and Kufis, that's $31 million.
And you bring in
Carmelo Anthony at 27.9 on the 1 year left of his deal. That deal works according to the ESPN Trade Machine.
I don't like it. I mean, he's never been a player that I thought was worth the hype. I mean,
I agree.
He can score and that's it. He doesn't make anybody any better. He doesn't play defense.
But if it frees up $31 million worth of cap space. But then again, I mean, Kufis is already... All three of those guys are already falling off the books anyways. Why bring in a headache? But like I said, it fits the fucking Vlade Divac Vivek Ranadive mold. It scares me is the term I'm going to use because they haven't done anything. All week I've been joking about Vlade Divac. Everyone's like, why hasn't he made a move? I said, well, he's been waiting for his phone to get sent back to him from the warranty department. He gets his phone back, and then he throws $80 million at Zach LaVine.
I've heard that all week, too. And I just think that's bullshit. I can't imagine, I'm going to sound like an apologist, but I can't imagine him sitting on his ass all week.
He can't be.
What I imagine him is making phone calls to agents going, hey, David Falk, you have, I don't know, throw out a name. Give me a name.
DeMarcus Cousins.
No, give me a real name.
Mario Hezonja.
Okay, so hey, we want to bring in Mario. Our offer is going to be about the same as what he got with the Knicks. What do you think? Really?
Yeah.
I mean, he's just people are just laughing at him because they either have to overpay him, and I think even Vladdy's smart enough to go, look, I'm not going to give Hazinga or whatever his name is, $20 million a year to come play with us.
But he offered Zach LaVine $20 million.
Yeah, but Zach LaVine's 23 and...
Coming off an ACL.
Yeah, but I think...
And not only that, though, that deal, It was a 4-year salary, no options.
Yeah.
If you're stuck with a guy like Zach LaVine for 4 years, I'm so glad that Chicago matched that deal.
But again, what I'm saying is, I think that I think he's second or third place in all these guys.
No, I agree.
And I can't imagine. It's like, come on, sign somebody. Well, first off, they got to want to sign here.
Right.
They have to want to come to Sacramento, and there's absolutely no reason right now for anybody to want to come to Sacramento unless you have to rehab your career.
Right.
And none of those guys are at a point where they need to rehab their career. This team hasn't shown that it's good enough or making the right moves to have people want to come here. Now, after this year, it damn well better be.
Right.
It damn well better be, or Vlade, you need to go away. I kind of disagree with you that I don't think Vlade's made a whole bunch of mistakes. I think he's made one. The stupid trade with Philadelphia where we lost our first-round draft pick, that was a dumb trade. And that was a mistake. But that was also one of his first moves that he did.
And I told you, I already feel like redshirting Giles and taking Bagley over Doncic basically erases those mistakes for Vlade Divac in my book.
And you go back to last year's draft. Who else would you have taken? Now, you would have taken the guy from Utah. Mitchell, but there's 12 other teams that passed on Mitchell, too.
Right.
So you can't say that was his only mistake.
No,
and the people that he drafted were people that we needed, and I think he did a good job. I don't see any busts from last year. The year before, his first draft.
Why can I not remember who? Oh, Fox and Mason. I'm like, who the hell were our draft picks last year?
And Giles.
Yeah.
The year before, he drafts.
Except for Papianis, I mean, he took Scal.
And if you look at the players,
but he got Bogey. So
yeah, if you look at the players that were drafted after we made all of our draft picks, there's nobody on there that I want. There's nobody on there that they want. At that point, Scal was the best player available.
And you got to remember this too, Vlade. Now that DeMarcus has left, has left the Pelicans with nothing. Vlade won that trade with the Pelicans as well. So there's a lot of pluses, but it always comes down, for me, it comes down to one little X factor, if you will, that sits on the back burner that although he doesn't seem to have done much right now, there's always that little linchpin that worries me, and that's Vivek.
Yeah.
Vivek, he's let Vlade do his job, but I still feel that Vivek is just a hair up his ass away from forcing the hand of Vlade to do something else. And that's why the Carmelo Anthony thing worries me, because I can see Vivek going, we need a name in here. And we can take on this bad contract, and we can get rid of Shumpert, we can get rid of Randolph, we can get rid of Kufis or Temple or whatever, and clear up the cap space and have the same money come in. And we're going to have 1 year of Carmelo Anthony, and we're going to broadcast his name everywhere, and we're going to try to sell tickets, and we're going to do this. And that just seems to me like a very Vivek move. Now,
but they did that. They had that opportunity last year, and they didn't do it.
With who?
Carter. They could have used him as a centerpiece.
But I don't think Carter wanted that. I think if they would have said, hey, we're going to run a whole campaign around the fact that we have a future Hall of Famer here, Vince Carter would have said that I'm not signing here. Because Carter's not about that. Carter wants to play basketball. Right. Melo is all about that. You make me the marquee player.
It's all about Melo.
On the flip side of that, I think Vlade has done a very good job in establishing himself as the decision maker and telling Vivek no. I also think that minority owners and other ownership has basically told Vlade or told Vivek you need to take a step back because you're hurting your team.
He has.
And I give him credit for that. But I still feel
the first year and a half that he owned the team, we came on every week going, what is this guy doing? He wants to play 4-on-5 offense.
It still scares me, though, that he has the ability just on a flip of a dime to be like, you know what, we're going for it.
But he hasn't. I mean, I got to give the guy credit.
That's what I said. It worries me that he
There's always that, but I haven't seen it.
Now, the other question I have is, do you think that part of the reason the Kings haven't signed anybody is a cash flow issue? Do you think Vivek is losing any money?
No.
Because they're suing the developer of the hotel because of the overruns. They don't want to. They haven't paid contractors on the construction of the Kipton Sawyer, the lofts on top. Those were going to be the money makers, selling the apartments on top. They haven't been able to do that. They've been suing. They're suing the company for like $35 million.
But is that really a lot of money to him? I mean,
but what I'm saying though is he, until certain things are resolved, is he leveraging the Kings to make sure that he doesn't have any more overages that are going to ultimately hurt his bottom dollar? And at this point, going, you know what, we're just not going to bring anybody in. I mean,
yeah, but
it's just things I'm seeing online that I'm just
right.
I wanted to bring up.
And I agree. The only thing that prevents me from saying yes to that is most of the money that they're paying in salaries is coming from TV money.
I would hope so.
I mean, it's coming from. I can't imagine that there's really a lot of money that needs to come out of the owners' pockets to pay these guys. I think most of the money is coming from
their $16 beers.
Yeah, and TV rights money, $1 billion for the NBA. I mean, that spreads it out quite a bit. So I don't think there's. I think it goes back to people don't want to come here because we suck.
Yeah, that's
and the perception of this team is there's an owner who meddles. There's an owner who wants to play 4-on-5. There's
a non-established general manager plays,
and there's a negative. We heard this at the draft. There's a culture of losing. It's a negative culture on this team, which nationally we have to own up to. Yeah. But locally, we know that since February of a year and a half ago, that whole atmosphere has changed.
Yep.
And it's getting better, but now it's got to translate to the court. And I think that this is a year that it has to happen. It has to happen. They have to start playing like they're on the move, and that they're going to be better. Same thing happened in Philadelphia. They trusted the process. They drafted young, and then they played decently year before last. And this year, it's like, holy shit, where the hell did they come
So
from?
does Vlade need to get a couple burner accounts? Is Dave Yeager on his last year?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Even if they win 25 games?
No.
So he has one more next year to see if he can bring it around with money to spend?
Yep.
Do you still want to rant about your Kings fans?
Yeah, I could get into a Grant rant, but I don't really want to.
Oh, come on. The price point of the product does not match the quality of the product.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Okay, you want me to?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So I have to admit I'm an addict. I have a drug that I'm addicted to. And it's called Sacramento Kings Kingdom. It's like a train wreck. Every time I go by, I have to stop and look. And then I have to get out and help. And the people that are out there that are in the kingdom, they don't want the help. They want to be stupid. They want to say dumb things to prove to everybody that they know what they're talking about. The problem is they don't prove anything other than they can't find their ass with GPS.
Nice.
They're horrible. So here are 3 things that I heard this week.
Hold on, let's preface this. Not all of them are horrible.
No.
There are some intelligent folks in there.
Let me rephrase, because there were some people that I actually even disagreed with that, and I think Charlie might have been one of them, that I disagreed with this week, but at least he made some coherent points. Where other guys are like, oh, you're a hater, you're an asshole, that's it.
Fuck you, you're not a Kings fan.
Right.
Yeah, how about this? I got 6 private messages. I'm not going to say who they're from. When I said I hope that the Kings or hope that the Bulls match Zach LaVine, 6 different people messaged me, why the fuck are you in the Kingdom? You're not a Kings fan. Because I don't want him to sign Zach LaVine. I'm not a Kings fan. It was like 4 from the Kingdom, and I think 1 from Purple Gang and 1 from one of the other groups was like, oh, you're not a real Kings fan. Get the fuck out of here. What?
And I heard somebody said go get a radio show or something like that, or get a real radio show.
That was Christina Sanchez, I believe her name is, who thinks that Fox is going to be a bust.
Right.
And was it about Levine? I think it was. Oh, you should go get a radio show. Okay, I will. I'll talk about it on Sunday. Like, just
I like your. I have 240 episodes of radio show to go back on.
Right. I was like, what the hell? I mean, sure, I'm not a radio personality, and I do this for fun, but Fuck you. You think Fox is the bust? You're not a Kings fan, you fucking troll bag. All right, anyways, continue.
Excuse me. So, yeah, let me preface this because we're probably talking about 10% of the people in the kingdom. Maybe 20. We're talking a minor, but they're a vocal minority. They do a lot. They talk a lot. And here are the 3 topics that got my goat this week. Okay, hold on. Let me get back there.
Oh, yeah. He has this shit written down, folks. This is serious. And De'Aaron Fox would not even touch her with a 10-foot pole.
No. First, all the Kings' young players suck, and Bagley is a bust. This on 3 games.
No. This is on 2 games because after the first game, those same people were praising Bagley as the future of the NBA because of that dunk and how well he played. Game 2 and Game 3, he became a bust, and Vlade didn't know what the hell he was doing.
Right. Number 2, and we've already talked about this quite a bit. Vlade is a disaster because he hasn't signed anybody. Hey, I got news for you, people. People have to want to come here. It's free agents. Free agents. You can't just go here, sign this. You're coming to the Kings. They have to want to come here. He can't make people come here. He can't sign people that don't want to sign here. So, again, has he been perfect? No, but get off his ass. And the third one, this is the funniest one of all. Grant Napier is the cause of the losing culture because he is mean to callers and talks bad about players.
Yeah. Grant should be fired because that's why players don't want to come here because Grant's going to talk badly about them on his radio show.
So he tweeted out something the other day about fans and giving them shit about being honest. And I tweeted back saying, what if these people lived in Philadelphia or New York or Chicago where sports writers actually, that's their job is to fuck with the teams that are in the area. No, what he is he's got an opinion. He's not afraid to voice it. He doesn't care. He didn't like DeMarcus Cousins on the court. He said a million times, I have all the respect for him in the world off the court, but
he's the reason.
He's the culture killer of this team, and he's right. And we've talked about this 1,000 times about what DeMarcus did on the court to kill the culture. He got in an argument with Chris Webber, and it got bad, and it did go personal. But the majority of that happened after Chris Webber was a player and is a broadcaster, and Grant doesn't like the way Chris Webber broadcasts, and I agree with him. Chris Webber, for the most part, sucks.
Him and Reggie Miller are terrible.
Yeah.
Dave Bristow says Kobe rode the bench his first year. A lot of people don't remember that.
Yeah.
You have to – there are growing pains with teams. So to go back to your first one about Bagley being a bust, he got drafted 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
They literally opened camp, if you will, for the California Classic 4 days before the Classic started because of the CBA. They're not allowed to be playing around. They couldn't do organized practices. These guys literally are – it's a pickup game at that point.
And he hasn't played since the 1st of April.
Right. So
or not even middle of March.
So it's a pickup game at that point. You're literally just throwing a jersey on and going, hey, you guys are shirts, you guys are skins, let's go.
Yeah.
So Kings – I mean, I get it. Kings fans are extremely passionate.
But use a little bit of common sense and a little bit of...
Dave just hit the nail on the head. The Kings are in the position that the Raiders were and the Browns are. Players will come there to be overpaid and play basketball but not be competitive.
Yes.
They know it's a paycheck.
Right. But I think that's why...
But the Raiders turned it around, and I think that's what the Kings are going to do.
I think that's what the Kings are doing because they aren't spending money on washed-up players or players that need to recondition their careers. He's going the other way, and he's going young. And you look at the roster, and it is stacked with potential, really good, quality young players. Not a bunch of guys that are just going to come here for a paycheck. And, the draft of Bagley, when he comes in after his trip here, going, I want to play here. I want to be a part of this. I want to be a part of this team. After Game 3 of the California Classic, and he got chewed up a little bit, he's like, this was amazing. This was one of the greatest things I've ever seen. I can't wait to be a part of this during the season. Those are the kinds of players that he's drafting. You can't call the guy a bust after 3 drafts and 2 seasons of having those guys play.
Right.
Even he gave himself 3 years.
Right.
So you got to give it 3 years. As far as Grant Napier is concerned, he calls it like he sees it. He's from New York, so he's got a different attitude. But the guy is spot on 90% of the time. And these fans have to understand that just because they have a jersey on with the Kings on the front of it, they're not gods. And I don't know. It drives me nuts that some of these guys are so, spur of the moment. Look at. Try to understand how a team is made up. Try to understand how a good team works, and then pop off. Don't just pop off because you heard somebody say it on another board that Bagley's a bust after 3 games.
Right. Dave Bristow says Kings need to follow the Lakers lead 1-year deals, and defensive players are a bargain. Dave, I don't think you were on when I said my one player I want the Kings to focus on in free agency now is Marcus Smart.
Yeah.
A defensive player. He's at ends with Boston. No reason why not to bring in a guy like that with intensity that can play defense and bring a different attitude. But I agree with you. They need to bring in bargain players that, they may not be the big sexy name. And that's kind of what they're doing with the draft. And they're signing all these young players is you bring in guys, develop them with a core of players and see where they come from and see what they develop into.
Bring in guys that haven't lived quite up to their potential but kind of teeter, like the Willie Cauley-Stein type, that are a little bit more consistent, but bring them in, let them learn with the young kids, and let them develop too. Instead of bringing in somebody like Carmelo that's just going to tear the whole team apart.
Right.
I don't know. I just think the people in the kingdom, and again, when I say this, I'm talking about 10 or 20% of them, are just stupid idiots. They just pop off to...
I say he's an idiot.
They just pop off to hear themselves talk. They just pop off to start.
They want notifications. They want their phone to be like, bing, bing, bing. People are commenting on your post.
Yeah.
Like that.
Like that.
Right when Greg gets one. See? Boom.
I wish these guys would just shut up and listen. And maybe we need to start, you know what? I'm going to start a new page.
Oh, Jesus. As if there's not enough of them.
King's Idiot World. And it's a private, invite only.
What you don't understand about Grant is that he has a whole lot of followers, and his show has so much negativity about it. The negativity is terrible for the morale of the fan base. No, it's not.
I don't agree with that at all.
Because the thing is, if that's bad for the morality of the fan base, then so is the Kingdom and Purple Gang and all of those other forums that Kings fans bring their own negativity to. They don't even need to listen to Grant, and the Kings fan base is naturally negative because of the fact that we've been losing for 13 straight years. It has nothing to do with Grant Napier's opinion because the thing is, he's not the only one. Carmichael Dave came out yesterday on Grant's show while Grant's out of town and said if they sign Zach LaVine, it's going to be a bad move. And he loves Vlade, but he thinks it would be the worst move that Vlade can make if Chicago doesn't match it. And even with Zach LaVine, he said you're only going to win 30 games. Kings fans are going to be in an uproar if they hear that we're only going to win 30 games again because they're tired of losing. You cannot put all the onus on Grant.
No, and I was listening to KMBR the other day, and Bob Fitzgerald, he's a play-by-play of the Warriors. He's a, by all accounts, pretty smart guy. Everybody, respects his, Jesus Christ.
Mr. Popular.
Everybody respects his opinions. He's by all accounts, he's not a Grant. He's not negative. Came out word for word talking about DeMarcus exactly the same way that Grant talks about him. And I doubt that Bob Fitzgerald is driving home listening to Grant Napier on the radio. So people are hearing that. People understand DeMarcus had to sign a mid-level exception.
Right.
So the things that you're saying...
And he had to reach out to the Warriors to get it.
And the purpose of the press, if you go back to the founding days, the purpose of the press is accountability. And that's what Grant Napier brings to the Sacramento Kings is accountability. Is I'm going to be the person that sits there, and he's an employee too. Yeah. He's an employee. So he's going to hold those players accountable, and that's what he did to DeMarcus. And that's what he does on a weekly basis is he holds the team accountable. Do I agree with everything he says? No. But
Is he a bit of an asshole to people? Yes.
Yes, but I would be an asshole if some of those guys called up, hey, I think the Kings need to sign LeBron. We need to do everything we can to sign LeBron.
We put up billboards in Sacramento. LeBron,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, so, I would call you a moron if you said that. It's just, I don't get, just it's entertainment. It's entertainment. I can guarantee you that Grant Napier has zero impact on decisions that the Kings are making, setting the tone of the culture. And to be honest with you, Kings fans aren't, at the most part, smart enough to understand that he's being negative and what he's doing. They're, half of them are either the Kings can do no wrong, and the other half are the Kings need to blow this up and start the rebuild all over again. It just, they don't make any sense. There's no rationality on this team, and that's what I don't want to be a standard bearer for Grant Napier, but that's what he's doing. He's trying to hold you accountable and explain to you what's going on. I don't know. That's I'm done.
Hold on. The thing about Grant that I like and that I appreciate about him is he's not an ass fluffer. He tells it as it is. He's not afraid to voice his opinion. He's not afraid to be critical. And you got to remember, go back to 2010 to 13 when the Maloofs were threatening to move the team. He was a different person back then. He was restrained because he was afraid of losing his job because of the fact that if he spoke out against the Maloofs, there was a history of, we're gonna be fired if we talk out bad about him. And the thing is, back then, people criticized Grant for being a homer, for being a homer and being a mouthpiece, and for being just a talking point for the Maloofs, and people hated that. Now he's the complete opposite, and people hate it. It just goes to show that regardless of who it is, you're not gonna make anybody in Sacramento happy. If we had a baseball team and a hockey team and a football team, or two of those three, and people were bad-mouthing the Kings, people would not give two shits because they would go, okay, you know what, the Kings suck, but at least we have this team and that team. All we have in Sacramento is the Kings, minor league baseball, and ultra minor league soccer. That's it. You're going to gravitate to one thing, and you're going to take it as your lifeblood, and you're going to be offended by it because that's all you know. You have to look at it from a different lens. It's the truth. The Kings suck. I mean, how else are you going to put it? The River Cats suck. The Republic, they're all right, but they're still playing minor league soccer. You have to look at it from a different perspective. I get it. The Kings are your lifeblood. You live and die by the Kings. But the thing is, if you take pride in, for example, let's say you own a house and you live in a court and the cul-de-sac is fully landscaped and beautiful and everyone else's yard is flourishing and everyone's like, oh my God, your yard's amazing. And then your yard is dead and brown because your sprinkler system broke and you don't have the money to fix it.
Is that a personal?
Yeah, my front yard sucks. But people are going to look at it and go, oh my God, your front yard's terrible. You need to fix it. Are you going to take the same of, oh my God, how dare you? No, my front yard is, okay, you're going to take offense to things because you're so invested in it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, truth hurts. You're going to hear about things that don't work well or are broken. You just have to adapt.
And not everybody in the world shares your passion for the team. So, some 24-year-old kid who grew up in Texas and who's a free agent isn't going to share the same passion. You have to understand that they're not going to go, oh, hey, the Sacramento Kings call me. I'm going to go play there because I love the Kings. It doesn't happen that way.
There are probably 15 players in the NBA that kind of like my beard. Sure, it's scraggly, whatever. It's not as awesome as some beards, but I'm not going to take personal offense to it and be like, oh my God, how dare you? My beard's great because I love it. No, it happens. There's a handful of players that grew up liking the Sacramento Kings. And sure, at one point, it'd probably be a dream of them to play for it. But let's be real. Let's say, like, for example, on the Kings Summer League team, Cody Demps. He grew up in Sacramento, in Elk Grove. He played for Sac State.
Isn't he on
He's on our summer league roster.
Yeah, but isn't he on Good Day Sacramento? Cody Demps?
No, that's Cody.
I think there's a chick named Demps and a...
Yeah, Courtney Demps and Cody something else.
Yeah.
Anyways, he's on the Kings Summer League roster. Ideally, it'd probably be a dream for him, assuming he grew up a Kings fan, to play for the Kings. And it's probably great being on Reno, or I guess Stockton now, and being a part of the G League. But if the Lakers called, or if Cleveland called when LeBron was there, or if Boston calls his agent tomorrow,
or if
the Warriors call and they say, hey, we like what you're doing in Summer League, we like what you're doing here, the Kings aren't going to offer you a spot, we have a roster spot available for you on our NBA roster. Do you think he's going to turn them down and go, you know what, I'm going to stay in Stockton right now because I have a chance to come up and play with the Kings?
And I'm a Kings fan.
You're thinking of Cody Rhodes, I think, Dave. They're gonna do it, you know, and it's a business before anything else. Now, at the end of his career, maybe he decides to take Sacramento over another location so that he can fulfill a dream to play for that team. Great example of that with the River Cats right now. Manny Parra, he's a relief pitcher for the Cats. He's signed a minor league deal with the Giants. He's played with Milwaukee. He's played with the Cubs. He's played with the Reds. He's 34 years old. He's coming to the end of his baseball career. He grew up a Giants fan, so he took the opportunity coming off of Tommy John to be in the Giants organization for the opportunity before it's too late to put on a Giants uniform. Additionally, he gets the chance for his kids who are growing up Giants fans to potentially see dad play for the Giants. I don't think, Castle Roble High School graduate, exactly. I don't think, no, Gold Dust is Dustin Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is his little brother. You don't necessarily say if Manny Parra, for example, if he's 5 years ago before Tommy John has a minor league deal with the Giants on the table and a major league deal with the A's on the table, he's probably not going to go the route of hometown team at that point of his career because he has a better chance of playing what he wants to do. It's still a business at that point. When you near the end of your career, you know what? It's probably more personal than business. Like, you get a chance to do what you want to do. There's not a lot of players in the NBA that are going to be jumping for joy to go join the Sacramento Kings unless they're doubling the amount of money you're going to get because they have to do so. So, Kings fans, I mean, we really went off on a tangent there, but Kings fans just need to take a breath and calm down. I mean, it's not the end of the world if people tell you that your team sucks. It happens. Lakers fans, Boston fans for a number of years. Hell, now Cleveland's going to be right back to that. Your team's going to suck. It's a roller coaster. Shit, look at the Warriors before 2009? Yeah. 2010? They were shit. They were the Kings. And then they drafted well. The Kings, I don't think the Kings have players on their roster right now that equate to a Draymond, Steph, or Clay. But we don't know what Fox and Giles and Bagley and all these guys are going to equate to. You know what? Maybe they're a second coming of that power core that you can build the team up. On the flip side of that, though, Vlade needs to watch his language or watch his words. To say that we're a super team, we're just young, is asinine. Yeah. We have the potential to maybe be good, but I don't think you can say we have a super team like the Warriors have.
No.
Last but not least, or not last but not least, but another topic on that. Do you think if Summer League continues the way that it is right now for Frank Mason, he's better suited to start the year in Stockton and refine his game? If he stays on the path that he's been on in the first 4 games.
Yeah, well, if he stays that same way, I mean, there's a long time before the season starts. So
yeah, but I mean,
I would think that it's going to be more like, how does he play in the preseason? If he comes back and he's
playing about preseason, I'm thinking Summer League is just jump right into it.
Yeah, no. If he doesn't take these Summer League games and go, oh shit, I got to work on this, and this, or my ass is going to be in Stockton. Hopefully he takes that as a wake up call, and he does. If he doesn't, and he's playing in the preseason the same way he's playing now, send him back, get him some playing time. You know, if he's just going to sit on the bench here and get 4 or 5 minutes a game, or 10 minutes every 3 games. Then send him to Stockton and let him play. But we saw flashes of brilliance last year. Not brilliance, but of decency. Not as bad as he's shown now. And again, it's been 4 games. It's been 4 Summer League games, no training camp, a whole roster of brand new players, I mean, there is nothing that in Summer League. I think Summer League is a waste.
I
really
think it's
do.
dumb, especially
It's
if Bagley
dumb.
comes out hurt. We're in trouble.
You know, what does it prove? It's basically throwing a ball out in PE going, okay, boys, you got 40 minutes of basketball to play. You know, just don't get hurt. And then they get hurt. It's just, I just think it's dumb. Give them the time off. Let them work on their own on the things that they need to work on. I guess it'll serve a purpose to show players what it is their weaknesses are. But, you know, get them ready for training camp. Get them ready for the season. You know, build that team rapport. I just think Summer League is a waste.
I agree. I mean, it's cool that they did the California Classic out here, and I honestly think that if Vegas continues to be a bajillion degrees during Summer League like it has been the last 2 years, I honestly think that they can find a way, based on the attendance and the energy that was here during the California Classic, I think you could see a Sacramento Summer League.
Well, and they're playing, you know, I was watching a little bit of the Orlando Summer League.
They play in like a high school gym.
Yeah. They play in a practice facility, I
Yeah.
think. I mean, do they even let
It's
fans in?
They have a very limited fans. I believe they play in the Magic practice facility or the Heat practice facility.
And we sell out our main arena.
Right. So I think Vegas, you know, if it continues to, like I said, to be super hot, it's like 115 today in Vegas for the first couple of games. I can see the NBA shifting it here, and I can see the Kings putting in a bid to have a summer league here. You know, maybe they move the Utah one over, because I mean Vegas is a moneymaker. I mean, I don't think Vegas is going to lose it, but
Vegas isn't going to lose anything.
I can see Utah's or whatever one it is right now being shifted to Sacramento because I mean, yeah, they're playing in a practice gym. I mean, is Vegas still playing at Thomas and Mack, or are they playing at the T-Mobile now?
They're playing at Thomas and Mack.
So I mean, and then they may shift the championship games over to the T-Mobile Arena or whatever.
At least the games that I saw yesterday were at Thomas and Mack.
Right. So why not have it in Sacramento? I can see that happening, and then you know maybe more money comes into Sac, and it puts Sac on a bigger map, and you know maybe players want to play here. Who knows? But
breaking news! Justin Bieber is engaged
to Haley Baldwin, whoever the fuck that is.
Who that is.
Anything else you want to rant about? Break down?
I got to break my addiction to Sacramento Kings Kingdom. Because
You could join the Goon Squad. That's our group.
Yeah, but there's not as much.
We don't post it. No one posts.
It's a lot of fun getting in there and fucking with people.
It is. It really is. It's nice. Any other sports we want to talk about?
No, but there is something I do want to say.
What's up?
Kind of on a serious tip. TJ, are you still on?
Yes, he is.
Okay. TJ, dude, I saw your little article the other day. The post that you made, the article of what Greg and I do, we consider you a third member of the broadcast team, and we just want you to know that we're thinking about you. If there's ever anything that hello.
Right.
Sorry, TJ. You just went by the wayside to get better. You deserve to get what better. You deserve to get what you better. You deserve to get what you better. You deserve to get what you you deserve to get what you you deserve to get what you deserve to get what you deserve to get what you deserve, and we want to make sure that you're around for a long time. So, you know, like I said, please continue to be a part of the show. Dude, we rely on you, and like I said, you're the third arm of this broadcast team. So I haven't had a chance to reach out to you, but I figured I'd do it right now.
And fuck you being in Disneyland right now. You asshole.
Really? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, final thoughts. I don't have one. It's Sunday, and it feels good to be back on because it's been a long fucking time.
Yeah, get your air conditioning fixed.
It is fixed. It's just not on right now.
Not on.
Right. We don't have it on. But basically, I mean, Kings fans just breathe. You know, it's calm down. Stop freaking out so much about things. Let it happen. It could be worse. We could be, you know, a Magic fan or a Wolves fan. Oh, another thing I want to talk about. How weird is it going to be that Tony Parker is going to be playing for the Hornets?
So what does that say about what's going on with the Spurs?
I don't know.
You know, between Kawhi Leonard and now,
if they trade Kawhi, if they trade Kawhi this year, 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 they trade Kawhi this year, trade Kawhi this year, trade Kawhi this year, Kawhi this year, Kawhi this year, I think Kawhi this year, I think Pop this year, I think Pop this year, I think Pop comes out here, I think Pop comes out and I think Pop comes out and says, I think Pop comes out and says, I think Pop comes out and says, you know what, this is my last year. And he is going to personally not only recommend, but I think that Pop will come out and go to ownership and say that he wants Becky Hammon to be his successor. And she's going to be the first NBA female head coach.
First pro
female head coach. And I believe that she'll be the one that rebrands the rebuild. And honestly, he's instilled a lot of that. 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 There's a lot of, intangibles that come along with the whole cybermetric thing and the analytics that come along with basketball. And the Kings tried to implement a couple analytical guys, and it didn't really work out. But they also tried doing it way ahead of the curve. I don't know. I don't really necessarily care if it happens, but I mean, every other sport seems to have it.
And my, are you done?
Yep.
Okay. And my final thoughts are: Kings fans, get over the players that have left.
Right.
Once they're gone, they're gone.
Especially Boogie.
Once they've been traded for 3 draft picks and a bag of donuts. They're not coming back. Don't beg for them to come back. They're not going to do it. Don't beg for the Hassan Whitesides to come back. Move on. Why clamor for the players that were on the team when they won 23 games? You're not going to get they're not going to all of a sudden turn into players that are going to get you 45 wins. It just doesn't happen. So please, if I had a Christmas wish, I would wish Kings would just move on leave the former players behind. Just be over with them. Yell for them, cheer for them when they come back, but get over it. Okay, I'm done.
Yep, I'm good with that. DeMarcus
right.
just posted a picture. He's working out. He's got a ball in his hand. So maybe he is further along than we thought he was coming off of that.
Bada bing, bada boom. Bada bing, bada boom.
I'm a warrior. I need to get an audio clip of that.
You do.
I'm a warrior. With that being said, this was episode 247. Thank you, everyone who participated. TJ, have a safe drive home.
Yep.
This will be up on iTunes later. For Tony Pacheco, Folsom Lake Ford, go see him. He's got a ton of deals going through July 9th. Albert Chavez is always slinging deals for your home buying needs. Check them out. Both of those are on our website. AC,
like
Evans, Selmans, Corliss, Hope. Fuck, whatever.
Thanks, Charlie.
On that note,
hope
guys.
That was hashtag sarcastic.
Damn it, Barn Bomb.
What now?
Just been a while since we hit that.
Yeah.
So we'll see you guys next week.
Good night, Larry.
Fucking putter.